Hey, you're on.
Okay. All right, welcome. Tonight's our regular town board meeting, March 11th, 2021. At this point, I'd like to ask you to please rise. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this point, I'll open meeting. If we have any visitors who wish to speak, we got public access, as many of you know, at the end of the meeting also. Come on right up, Jim. Gotta have your name and address, please.
All right. Jim Tashik, 387 Brunswick Road. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Route 2 Valente accident 2 weeks ago. I don't know if people, you know what happened there, if anybody knows the details.
I don't know details, but I know the end results.
Okay. Well, the end result wasn't so bad, considering what happened. Fortunately, there were no serious injuries or deaths in this thing. But I think this is a situation that's a calamity waiting to happen. It really is. And let me give you my assessment of this accident with my truck model. Okay.
Okay.
It occurred. It's only about 200 yards from our house, right? And the truck was coming from the quarry, through Eagle Mills, past our house, probably going 50, typical speed limit 55 miles an hour. And you could tell by the tracks, there was still the road was clear. It was a bright sunny day, no obstructions, no ice on the road. You could tell from the tracks in the snow on the side of the road, he went off the road right by Tom Clemente's house, which is where Engels Farm, we're the next house, and there's about 7 or 8 houses. Tom Clemente is the last one, right? The truck went off the road, went across Clemente's driveway, on the Clemente's property, and then he must have overreacted, brought it back. So if it was the truck was going down that grade there, right? What happened was this truck did a 180 twist. So it was pointed like this, and then it rolled over on its side like this, dumping all the gravel, probably 20 tons of gravel or however many tons of gravel the truck's going to hold, right? When it stopped, this truck was angled across the road and took up. These things are pretty big. You don't notice it until you measure the length of it or see relative to something else. It was fully covered 80% of the paved width of the road, right? In other words, if there had been another car coming, there's no way that car could have got. There was no room for that car to go anywhere, right? Can you imagine if you're coming down, you're going up that hill, this truck's coming down, and this thing starts rolling and tumbling? Ooh, pretty frightening, pretty deadly, right? Can you imagine if the Clementes are sitting in there at their driveway waiting to get out? They're gone, absolutely gone. And this, like I said, this is a rehearsal for a calamity, okay? And this let's go back in with Valente history. It's probably between 2 or 3 years ago at Engels Farm, right? This time there was a car waiting to make a left-hand turn at Engels. There was a Valente truck coming toward Eagle Mills, probably empty, I would imagine. I don't know. Since he wasn't busy, maybe he had time to text, snack, have a coffee, and I looked up. Oh my God, there's a car there, and this is the one that drove it into the ditch. Fortunately, at least he had the reaction time to do that. But these things they're too close. They're just too close. Okay, there's distracted drivers and their speed. You're not going to control the distraction of the drivers, but you control the speed on this thing. And this is not limited to Valente, right? In fact, I don't think Valentes really speed that much. They're going 55. But the trouble is, 55 miles an hour, obviously these guys can't control these trucks, right? This is dangerous. It's not just like a Kia going off the road or something like that. But there are we've had, in the last 3 years, there have been at least 2 rollover accidents right in front of our house. We had one probably 2 winters ago over in Mrs. Snyder's yard. All right, I can't remember, the thing flipped over, nobody was hurt, okay? Or nobody seriously. And then probably the year prior to that, there was a coming from Troy toward Eagle Mills. There was I think it was a big van pulling a pretty large trailer, a utility trailer, right? They decided to pass on that stretch, and they found that maybe they couldn't pass. They tried to, I'm not sure what the maneuver was. They tried to turn back into the lane. The trailer swung the ass end of that van out and went across the road, as did that other one that rolled over Mrs. Snyder's yard. Both these accidents involve crossing the center line. They ended up on the opposite side of the road, which is the most dangerous, potentially most destructive type of accident, as was this truck. This guy was all the way on the other side of the road. Okay? Route 2 is 2 lanes. I went out and measured it. There's 3 feet 4 inches of pavement after the painted line. There's not much of it. I wouldn't even call that a shoulder. It's certainly not. It's nothing you can use for a safety. And then there's typically get a ditch on the side of the road on both sides of the road. There's a 55 mile an hour speed limit from Brunswick Hills to Engels, right? And that's 1.5 miles. Right? And in a trip, if you're comparing traveling that at 55 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour, the difference in travel is 36 seconds. All right. So I don't know. Is this willing? I mean, are we willing to risk people's lives to save people 36 seconds? Gravel trucks or skiers headed for Vermont or whatever. This is just not worth it. Right? And this is the only 55 mile an hour. There's that 1.5 mile stretch is the only 55 mile an hour speed limit on that road until you get to, how far up toward Graftonville is where's the next, where does it turn to 55 again? Anybody? I don't know. I don't know if it's in Brunswick. It's probably, anybody know? I don't know, but it's a good piece out there.
It's up by the park, I think.
I think by Grass Beach Park.
Okay, so it's nothing in Brunswick. So there's 1.5 miles of 55 mile an hour speed limit. Now, if you look at the development there, the development in our neighborhood, what I call our neighborhood from Engels, which is a busy entry and exit now. If you go down through all the houses down to Shine Road, that's comparable to the housing density up where you used to live, Tom, right? On Brunswick Road in Eagle Mills. There's not much difference there.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's comparable to what's the straightaway down, for example, on the country club. It's really frightening there. The speed that people go, and of course, you get people passing there, and and it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Or if you compare this with Route 7, Route 7 out here is 45 miles an hour, right? I don't know where it turned. Mark, where does it turn to 55? Past your store, before your store?
Before, it's 278.
Just before, yeah. Just before.
Just before. So all this stretch right here, this wide road, not much development, right? Route 2, where we are, it's much more developed, much more densely developed, and a lot more people coming in and out of driveways. Right? I'd like to have a strong statement from the town to request this speed limit be reduced. That's like, Phil, we did this 5 years ago. I have the, remember this?
Yep.
I remember this. And then also in that, it was ironic, in that letter, they said that, they didn't think there was a need because, well,
Yeah.
there weren't enough accidents, right? Even though in the letter, they cited that there were 25% of the cars were going above the speed limit. They're just, it's not necessarily the speed, all right? But it's a speed when these kind of trucks are going through. And Valentes are not the only trucks. There's a lot of gallon van trucks and just other people going through there and getting more semis coming over here because of congestion on Route 7. Yeah. But I hope we don't have to wait for the first fatality before we get moving on this.
So what you'd like is a strong statement from the town with our concerns, Jim, to the state?
Yes, all
Okay.
right? And then whatever you need petitions, you need signatures, we'll get them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an eye opener years ago, quite a few years ago. The town board that I was on at the time had concerns in front of Tamarack High School. And that was a challenge in a fight to get the state to lower that speed in front of the school.
Mhm.
I mean, I couldn't believe it with the buses and everything else and the loaded trucks.
Right.
And I think, if I remember right, and I could be wrong, but I think Senator Bruno was the only reason why we got that lowered there. I mean, it's crazy.
Mm.
And when I go on the DOT to talk about Route 7 being the way Route 7 is, they say to me, Route 7 is okay. There's a lot of Route 7s, you know. It's not that many cars on Route 7. I mean, the state is off the wall here, you know.
Mm.
But we certainly, I agree with you. You're right. I mean, there's another, I don't know if you picked it up. Blaney truck took a pole off in front of the Eagle Mills Firehouse there not too long ago.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it went off the right-hand side.
Yeah, I've heard of other things happening, but these are things within sight distance of my house.
Yeah.
This is between Engel's Farm
Yeah.
and there. You're talking about 500 yards there, and then these other rollover accidents and things like that. Okay. And then besides that, I think if you can, this is this notion of the speed limit, all right? And also, Route 2, I think is going to need some sort of review because of the construction for Brunswick Acres, right? You got a 26-house development coming with a road coming down into there. And the road right now is I believe, I'm not sure exactly where it is going to enter the road at that passing zone, right? So I can't believe they can allow that to go. You know, can you imagine, once again, can you imagine, sitting there, waiting to make a turn, turn right, you look left, nothing's coming, you turn right, and somebody's passing, coming down the hill at you. I can't imagine that. And in addition to that, I think that's something that I think has to be, concerned with after there's there are houses there and the like. But I've been reading the planning board minutes, and they're going to do a massive amount of excavation in there, right? According to the contractor, they're going to have to remove 90,000 cubic yards of fill from that site. How much, can you put like 10 cubic yards in a truck? Gordy, what do you say? I don't know. Is that about right?
Well, it all depends on what size.
10, 15, okay. So you're talking around 8,000 truckloads of material coming out of that onto a road. If the road's 55 miles an hour, can you imagine these trucks coming from Eagle Mills fully loaded? And I'm not sure which direction they're going to put these trucks, but either one, these things are going to be lumbering coming out of that development. This just boggles the mind. So I think because I don't know what the process is for the state to review a situation like this when there's a new development. Is there an automatic review?
Yeah, I don't know either, but
Jim, I don't know that number that yardage is
This one,
pertinent anymore. I think that may have been changed.
no,
But
well,
you need to look into that a little further. That's-
okay, this is in January.
Yeah, you're behind the ball a little bit on that. I
Okay.
think they've tailored that a bit, so it's not going to be quite that
Okay.
drastic.
no, what really happened was when Casal presented that project to us, we were told through their engineer that there wouldn't be any material leaving the site.
Right.
So I don't know how it went from nothing to all those yards.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
we were very, very unhappy with that and voiced our concerns. And now the engineer that was doing the job doesn't work for that company anymore or whatever. So the planning board is well aware of it. And I think what they're looking at now is they're saying, well, maybe we can leave everything on site because
Okay. Well,
that was terrible.
I'm going by the most
No.
recent,
Yeah, but it set off all kinds of bells and
Okay,
whistles.
all
I
right,
mean, that,
okay, that's fine.
Can you imagine the traffic, the truck traffic to try to move that kind of amount
oh,
of dirt?
no, I can't.
And then where are you gonna go with it?
I have
So
no idea.
it was an enormous concern for us, so.
No, I'm just, okay.
I don't think they've been back to the planning board, Kevin, for a little while. So I think they got their
No, that's,
pencils out or whatever they're doing. So
But anyway, well,
we agree with you.
based on my most recent information, this is but once again, I'm not sure. I think you're going to have to do something about that passing zone, and you might as well knock the speed limit down for that whole stretch from the top of the hill out to Angles. Okay.
Well, we ought to be able to put a pretty good letter on because you're right. The big trailer trucks don't want to come over and go down 7 because of traffic, so they're traveling Route 2. So.
Now, Phil, the other thing is that from this, remember that, I don't know if you remember this letter that they gave, there was somebody, I don't know if it was you or who met them from the town. And there's some kind of a database for accidents. And they said it wasn't merited, all right? I called up, I tried to pursue this. Well, this is like the Monty Python skit. You know, you've transgressed the unwritten law. What was it? Oh, we can't tell you. They just, well, we can't give this information out. Okay, it's like pulling teeth. Now, I'd like to see that. If when you get to that stage, and let's see if all of these Valente, for example, Valente accidents, which are pretty drastic and well noted. Well, let's see if those are on the report.
Yeah.
Make sure, and then, because I've got a feeling that they're not catching these things. Or if they are, that's a strange
I'd be
interpretation.
more than happy to try to put some kind of letter together, voicing
All right.
our concerns.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
More than happy.
And I'll
on
take
that.
my truck.
Thank you. Anybody else at this point? Come right up, please. Whoop. Gotta have your name and address, please, if you would.
Thank you. So my name is Mary Krenseski. I also live at 387 Brunswick Road. And I won't give all of the details because you just heard them from Jim. But when this accident happened, it was reminiscent for me. I just retired from 31 years in the chemical industry. And safety is a big deal in the chemical industry. We would term what happened on the road a near miss. When there was a near miss in the plant, in the manufacturing plant, all operations came to a stop because it was considered a warning for a fatality. And it's not when there are near misses, it's not if there will be a fatality, but when.
Mhm.
It turns out that just a minute behind that truck, Tom Clementi's daughter-in-law and his 2 grandchildren could not make it down to their driveway because the truck was turned over there. And I don't think there's anybody in this room, I know there's nobody at our house, who wants to be responsible for that kind of an accident. Jim and I both have almost been hit on Shine Road from walking. We walk on the side of the road. I wear bright green, you'll see me out there. But we have almost been hit, and many of our neighbors are also out there, and they are out there with their children. Not necessarily on Route 2, but they may be crossing Route 2. So this is a very, very serious situation. And again, I don't want to come here after there's been a fatality. I don't think any of us want to deal with that. So I would also offer my support for whatever you can do for us, Phil.
Yeah.
We will take this up wherever we can. I would also like to see one of those signs that tells you what your speed is on either side of that stretch, or at least one side, at least coming from Eagle Mills. So, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Good point. Thank you. Anybody else at this point? If not, we'll roll right into the meeting here. All right, minutes of previous meeting, February 11th, regular meeting, and the 25th special meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion approved, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Reports by elected officials and department heads. Town clerk, Mr. Lewis.
Yep. All right, our office will be remitting $6,051.82 to the main office. $3,443 was in recycling sales, $1,350 for rental fees. Community centers booking up now that it's getting a little better. So mostly towards the end of the year. Let's see, $325 for dog licenses. We have 7 new residents and 43 were still with us, and $933 in miscellaneous fees. That's about it. We've gotten a lot of calls already. People were thinking about the summer with the camp, so we're actually going to have to order up our stamps, and we'll have to eventually go over what we're doing about camp. I mean, they're looking for the stickers for the beach, but the actual summer camp, we don't really know yet. So we've just been telling people, hold on, we'll be getting together. Okay.
Motion approved, bills report.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
In terms of the summer camp, we sent a letter, email to Tamarack School because we were using their facilities. And of course, they're under construction the last couple of years. They sent a letter back and said that they would like to work with us this year and give us a couple of rooms to try to have the camp. What we got to look at is make sure we can hit all the requirements. The governor, as you know, is getting a little bit better, but he make a statement and change it the next day. So we got to find out our criteria to make sure we can hit that. But I was on a Zoom meeting the other day with Congressman Delgado, and as many people know, there's a lot of funds that he's getting out to the states and the counties and the towns. And there's right now quite a bit marked for the town of Brunswick. The Eastwick Press did a wonderful job explaining. And right now we're all trying to learn, but it's for COVID use, something where COVID, whether we got a lack of income, which we did because the courts was closed, that would qualify. But I'm also thinking that maybe in order to have a camp, we might need more counselors. We might need to spread these kids out, more expenses. So we're looking, I don't know if I got to limit it, but we're hoping we could use some of these funds that's coming at us to offset the expenses for the residents of Brunswick. So at this point, we're reaching out. We're trying to see if we can move ahead to the camp because, as you know, I feel things are getting a little bit better. The vaccines are getting out, at least many of the older people, but the levels are coming down now, 60 and so on and so forth. So I get a call every night from the county, from Rich Chris, and he gives me the number of people that are positive in the town of Brunswick, and of course the county. In the last 3 days, my mother was always superstitious, so I got to find the wood, but we've only had 1 positive the last 3 days in Brunswick. And today's positive was a wife of the husband, the gentleman from yesterday. So as we know, things have been a lot better. So we're very nervous, Bill, but Tracy's reaching out to our staff and we're trying to, because we got to know pretty soon. So we would like to be able to offer something because the kids have had a rough time being home, It would be nice. Okay. All right. Mr. Bradley, Water Department.
Good evening. I typed my notes really quick tonight, and they kind of read when you get furniture from a foreign country and you try to look at it, the instructions and say, who the heck wrote this? You know, so don't read it too carefully here. I think English is my second language this evening. We completed all our water testing for the month. We had a couple small water main breaks, one on Muriel Drive and one on Fox Hollow. Nothing of great concern, just, we probably will have a few more with the weather changing the way it is. And when you get these big fluctuations, that's when it happens. We had a little hiccup in our water billing. We left the return address off our postcard that we send out, which allowed us to have a lot of communication between us and our customers. Some of them just wanted to make sure that we knew what we did. We know. We won't make that mistake again. Something that kind of concerns me, has always concerned me to a certain extent, is these SWIP reports that we get in from these engineering firms. This is particularly geared towards Hannaford. They always seem to want to do the minimum, and Hannaford site's not someplace where they can do the minimum. To kind of just sum it together, there's a 200-acre watershed that comes into here. They're only counting 46 of that watershed. They're required to count the whole 200 of it. I met with Mr. Seabury today and talked to him, but thought the engineers had reached out to him. The engineers hadn't reached out to him. He had given his name to the Mr. Rosen, the project manager there. Mr. Rosen hasn't reached out to him. That Mr. Seabury at 32 Otsego, that has been the historic way the water drains when it gets up in elevation out of that area on Duncan Lane. And their current plan discounts that totally. So, I'll be coordinating with Mr. Bonesteel, but it's kind of a little bit painful to do these reviews when the engineers have not made their effort up front. And I'm going to make that well known to them that they really should have reached out and they really should be doing the right thing there. But that's, there are solutions, and we'll work through that. Just takes a lot of time that's unnecessary on my part. I worked with Mr. Gilchrist on finalizing the easement agreements and everything else between, I shouldn't say the easement, the intermunicipal agreement between Town of Brunswick and North Greenbush, so that we can move the Sharp Road project ahead for servicing the water and the drainage districts over there. And that's, and this is Blake Reynolds. You have a resolution in front of you for part-time employment at the moment, and that's Blake's coming here to see how we do business.
Thanks, Bill. I'm
Thank
trying
you.
to get a little more professional. Since you're paying attention. Thank you for being here. Motion approved bills report
I'll make a motion.
made and second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Chuck Goldman, Superintendent of Utilities and Inspection.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Happy one-year COVID anniversary. The report for February of 2021. 39 building and property inspections, 317 active building permits. We had 9 building permits issued, and people are actually, I think we have 2 pools and a third one ready to go. So people are putting pools in already. 9 meetings, 2 planning board meetings, 2 zoning board meetings, 0 court cases, 26 fire inspections, 5 follow-up complaint inspections, as well as meeting phone calls and letters, 3 code call-outs, 4 code complaints, 7 code complaint inspections, 2 vacant abandoned properties identified, 11 planning board projects open or granted, and 6 zoning board projects open or granted. I owe the board a report on 414 Brunswick Road. I will do that now. This is let me just read it. At a recent town board meeting, a resident asked the board to look into what was going on at 414 Brunswick Road. He was concerned about the potential for contamination of local wells and made the comment that he did not want to see what happened with Gallivan that happened at this site. The residents where the residents where the interested party resides is 700 foot from the barn that OTL operates out of. I made an inspection on the initial inspection on 2/17/21, met with the owner, Mark Albert. He runs a landscaping and tree service business from a 17.53 acre parcel. He's got 7 full-time employees and has been at this location for 8 years. He has no fuel storage on this site. The zoning district that the property is situated in is an R15 with an ag overlay. My determination of viewing the site is that he needs to get a tug grinder in there and get rid of all of the wood and debris stumps and such that are there and have it ground up and trucked off the site. And an area has to be blocked out that will allow him just to fill back into that area with the wood debris and not spread over the area that he is now. And you can imagine the fire load, Mark, what all that wood is. And it's also, the site also needs general housekeeping. So I have cited him for removal of the vehicles that are not registered and the cleanup of the wood now. So that's currently where we are on that site. Another thing that came up in Mr. Kachik's speech was regarding about the state. That is a state highway in front of the Brunswick Acres development if they decide to proceed with it. And they have to go to the state to get a driveway permit in there. So, and that is one of the things that as I was concerned because I was involved in an accident like that where you look right, look left, don't realize it's a passing lane and having another car approaching when you looked right the first time the car wasn't there. And the incidence for this to happen, I think, is more because whatever vehicle is behind that truck, if they're a local, they realize that's the only place they can pass to get around this truck. So the state has to look at that and see that it goes into a passing lane. So that's all I got, gentlemen. Any questions?
No, thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Entertain a motion for Chuck's report.
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Town attorney, Mr. Chaffee.
Yes, this past month I prepared the resolutions for tonight's town board meeting. I prepared for, attended, and participating in a mediation session with a PERB-appointed mediator involving a joint impasse declaration made by the town and CSEA pertaining to negotiations toward a new collective bargaining agreement. Worked with the water department on a personnel issue, worked with the supervisor's office on some personnel issues, worked with the assessor's office on some personnel issues. I prepped for, attended, and participated in a special town board meeting held on February 25th, 1921. Worked with the supervisor's office on some purchasing issues. I assisted in the drafting and preparation of the proposed moratorium local law, which we had a public hearing on this evening. I attended and participated in several internal meetings with town board members and/or town employees on a variety of issues. I worked on various legal research projects for town board members and town employees.
Thanks, Tom. I'll make a motion to approve Tom's report.
Second.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. What I'm going to do is next month talk to the rest of my department heads and ask them to start attending the meetings again. I gave them an option and we've been very, very safe and very careful, but we've got enough table or chairs here. I think we can spread out. So I can get our recycling coordinator back and town historian, that she's comfortable coming back. If she's not, that's okay too. But in terms of, I mean, her health wise, I mean. Sharon, we talk about her long reports. We don't mean that if you're listening, Sharon. We do miss you. So. One thing I was just sitting here thinking, what Mr. Bradley mentioned, said he was concerned, I think, because I think he was talking about the Hannaford people not reaching out to him and not getting under motion in terms of getting out in front, but of the stormwater. What that tells me, Bill, maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but this proposed Hannaford is a proposed Hannaford. I mean, it's a permitted use in that area. However, they still got to go through the planning board for their site plan, which means the traffic in the area, got to look at that. The big thing is Mr. Bradley mentioned, and he's very concerned and correct about that, is the stormwater in that area. I did talk to the Hannaford people the day the press releases came out. I did not know what store was going, and I heard at the same time everybody else did. The press release came out. They told me that they bought 12 acres down there, and they've never bought 12 acres in any of their sites yet, but there's a lot of stormwater work that needs to happen. So Bill, what that tells me, if they're not doing their homework, they're just gonna be a little slower. Nothing's gonna get speed up here. I mean, it's their disadvantage. We're not gonna fast track anything. It's just gonna take them a lot longer, but they gotta get answers and come up with the right thing, so, for stormwater, so. I don't want people to think that this is a done deal and they're gonna open tomorrow morning. That's not gonna happen. They gotta go through the site plan and the environmental stuff, so. Okay. Bill, why don't we move into resolutions?
Okay, we can do that. Okay, resolution number 33 of 2021. Resolution accepting bid, awarding contract, and authorizing supervisor to execute contract on behalf of the town of Brunswick. This is for grinding and removal of brush and wood at town landfill on Old Seek Road.
I'll second.
What this is all the brush that we pick up from everybody, we take it up to landfill. DEC lets us dump it there. However, we got to grind it and remove it. So we put it out for bid, trying to get the best price. I think last year it cost the taxpayers $36,000 to have a grinder come in and grind it and then remove it. That's what this is about, trying to get bids to get it ground and removed to make room for our spring cleanups. Go ahead, William.
Yep, okay, foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution number 34, 2021. Resolution reappointing member to Board of Assessment Review of the Town of Brunswick.
I'll offer.
Pat Abrams, Pat's been on the assessment board of review. They meet like, I believe, once a year, sometimes twice.
Couple times.
Right. So,
Yeah, need a second on that?
Yes, I will.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
aye.
Foregoing resolution is adopted. Resolution 35, 2021. Resolution appointing sole assessor.
I'll offer that.
Okay.
I'll second it. Mr. Rooney, after a good many years, Steve, moved to Florida. I don't think he was that old. I'm worried about that. Is
I
it
think-
Florida?
Yeah, I think he's got a job as an assessor down there.
He's in something down there.
Yeah. Got employment down there and working down there. Julie was his assistant for 5 years. She's very, very qualified. She's taken quite a few exams, tests. The last one she scored 98 on. She's been averaging like 96, 95, 7. I think she's a great addition, so. Okay.
All right, let's see. Resolution was offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 36, 2021. Resolution appointing and fixing compensation of temporary part-time town employees for the water department.
Oliver.
I'll second it.
As mentioned, Blake's with us tonight. That's nice. The young man wants to go to work. That's good. So,
Resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
Blake, welcome to the team.
Resolution 37, 2021. Resolution to accept the water and sewer maintenance role for the period of July 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, known as the February 2021 water and sewer roll.
I'll offer.
I'll second.
Resolution offered by Councilman Christian, seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Resolution 38, 2021. Resolution adopting Town of Brunswick Local Law Number 2 of 2021.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
This is a
As it-
moratorium that we had a public hearing on.
And as a note, this is called number 2. I'll explain this each time. This year they'll be staggered. Because the first resolution this year we did approve was actually set in motion in 2020. So this is actually the second one, the first one of 2021, which is how it was put forth for the public hearing. But now it's going to be called number 2 because it is the second one that we're adopting. It's going to go like that all year. We're going to be one number off any local law that we do approve, just so you know. Okay, let's see. So I'll shut up. And resolution was offered by Councilman Balistrary, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. That's it.
Okay?
Yep.
Correspondence, Bill?
I have one.
Okay.
Get my ducks in order here. All right, this was addressed to Supervisor Harrington. Dear Phil, thank you so much for the call on my father's military banner. He was a dental surgeon serving in field hospitals in North Africa. We still have a set of binoculars given to him in gratitude by a German soldier as the U.S. Army hospitals took in all injured. Thanks to Tracy for diligent work. May you and the town have a great 2021. This is from Dave and Sonia Hunt.
This military banners, what happens is, it's kind of nice. Our highway department puts the military banners up, they take a picture. They get notified, my secretary, who's also the highway secretary, she lets me know that the banner is up, and I call the husband or the wife or the child or whoever bought the banner and said, listen, Joe's banner's up, Bill's banner. It's so nice. I mean, some of these ladies start crying about their husbands and grab their coats and say, I'm going outside and look, it's kind of means a lot. And we've got the banners up, a lot of them in front of our homes and the roads or wherever it means. So Mr. Ballesteri was a big part of that. I got to give him credit to get it going. So it's very, very nice. So, okay, is that it?
Mhm.
Correspondence?
Yes.
Old business? New business? Anybody? Warrants?
Make a motion, we pay our bills. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Further comments from visitors? Anybody? Jim, come on up.
Yeah, I've got no trucks this time. Yeah, Jim Tasic, 387 Brunswick Road. Thank you very much for looking into the matter over at the Welch's Farm site. Okay. I have no, there's always been somebody in there, even, after the Welch's stopped farming or using that. I have never had any complaints. I've never been in there complaining about this. And, it's a good use for the property. I just, Chuck, thank you very much for checking into that. Do they have to have some sort of a site plan for that? You don't have to answer me right now, but it's just something to think of, and where that is, because this is really strangely out of sync with the R15.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about it if the thing is kept on a reasonable scale. But like I said, I don't need an answer now for that.
No, I like to give answers right away. Whether they're you brought a good point up about that property. We're not the enforcement arm of the town. Mr. Golden is, as you mentioned. So he got up and made his report. I'm not 100% sure I agree with what he says. We all in Brunswick want to keep our businesses open. Nobody wants to turn anybody down. But as you mentioned, site plan, that property is owned residential. That's not a commercial site. So I think we need I personally feel that I'd like to have our attorney that handles the planning board matters or the zoning matters, maybe talk to Mr. Golden and take a look at that. Because I think you're right. I'm not sure. I mean, that's, when you talk about commercial, you know, my track record is pretty strong. I try to keep commercial, and I have been, or I say I, the town board, off of Route 2. That's why we haven't allowed any apartments or anything else. That's a commercial business that he's operating there that I think, and it's zoned residential. So I'm not 100% sure how he can continue there because he does need a site plan. And Chuck mentioned, sounds like he's doing a site plan, shrink it down and get an area. That's the planning board job, you know? So Jim, I think there's more to follow on this.
All right.
I don't know if somebody can operate a business that, you mentioned, you know, I saw got 7 employees, that plow snow, got wood. I think we need to get the attorneys involved and just see if that's happened, you know? I mean, you might be comfortable with what he's doing there, but he's certainly expanded, you know, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's the trouble. I mean, I've been, it's like Mr. Fatone.
Yes.
I mean, he had a small landscaping business run out of those buildings for, you know, a long time, you know, no problem. But there was never a burst of activity and size of this. You know, it's interesting that Chuck has been very helpful doing the like the Google Maps, whatever the proper things with time. And you can go back in time and look at this thing over the past decade or so, and you can see that they were just bare buildings 6 years ago or so, and how much this has expanded in that time. So that's something to, you know, to look at, you know, for proof of what they're doing. But you just need there needs to be some sort of envelope for the extent of the growth or the extent of the disturbance. I'm also worried about, I'm not sure, Chuck, what kind of vehicles there were, like fluids coming out of these, you know, these dead vehicles and going into the watershed. Like I said, we drink the water that comes down that hill, so.
See, I guess, Jim, you know, there was a proposed duplex, 2 duplexes over there. And the planning board looked at that pretty hard. Planning or zoning?
Planning.
Planning board looked at that pretty hard. I stay away from the planning and the zoning, so I don't get accused of running the total town here. They do their own thing. They're very, very good at it. But I saw a lot of turnouts over there from the neighbors, a lot of concerns about 2-family rental units or whatever. Said it didn't fit into the community, and that was right there. So now I'm trying to figure out, if that didn't fit in the community, we've got a commercial business in a residential area right there too. So I think our attorney needs to take a look at this.
Okay.
Does the fellow live there? Does the operator live there?
Excuse me?
Does the fellow that runs this business live on the site?
I don't know.
Chuck, do you know?
Yes, I know.
He does?
Oh, I know the answer. And this is the same thing with Gavin as well. They do not own the property that they're on. The property is owned by someone else. In the case of 414 Brunswick Road, the property owner was no Colway.
Yeah.
So he's a renter?
No, that's his
Problem lies in the fact-
wife or girlfriend or whatever, probably, right? It needs to take, I think we got to take a little deeper look there, Jim.
All right.
There is nothing in the zoning board that covers landscaping as a category. There is no business listing as landscaping. The only thing we can put these folks under that are here is under outside sales and storage.
That's your opinion. Now we'll get the attorney's opinion. So.
All right.
And see if it's the same as yours.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll await your work on this.
Stay tuned.
And then I just have a very short, I haven't been there all year, so I'm just letting things.
I
all
know,
the
we
business-
kind of missed you, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, seriously.
All right. Yeah.
Jim, you always bring up good points.
I'm going to start the year with a congratulations over we talked about the assessor's job here, that these were publicly posted on the website, which I think all of these jobs, the significance done, okay? And then maybe not so much of a congratulations. There are no, we're still real late on the minutes. There are no minutes for the February meeting yet. And there are no minutes for the special meeting yet. And I had, I didn't know the special meeting was, I didn't know that the meeting for today, forget this thing. The things that you'd normally get from, reading the minutes, you don't know that they're happening, like the special meeting that came up or the public hearing today. And then the notice for that Thursday, the 25th meeting, Phil, you put this on the website. It was dated the 23rd. You put the notice for the 25th on the 23rd, dated, for the notice. That didn't get into the website until the 25th. Because I looked on there the Thursday, the night before.
I know we got that to the back office.
Yeah.
Because
So it's,
I sent that off to, it doesn't have to be published in the record because it's just a special meeting.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to advertise it.
No. As far as the minutes go and everything, that was my bad. The minutes are here. They are not posted. And
Okay.
I,
And the other thing is, I've always complained about having meetings too early in the evening, like the special, the public hearing tonight.
Tonight is
I think
6.
6 o'clock's too early for people who have jobs and eat dinner with their families and things like that. It's just, all right.
We had a public hearing last time at 7. Everybody's wondering why so late. I said,
Yeah.
because you're right. So
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
all those posting, I think, Bill, he's talking to you, right?
oh, yeah. Yeah, it's my bad. No. I need that.
He's an elected
I need
official, but he doesn't listen.
slap. I need a slap. But as far as chiefs and the notice, I thought that was all up in the minutes. Yeah, that's another story. But the notices, I could have sworn they were all posted in plenty of time. So I know I send them out to the record too, and they get published at the same time. I try to make sure they get to the back office.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
Okay, anybody else at this point? Oh, I'm sorry, come on up.
Good evening, Martha Ann Gaby, 15 Langmore Lane. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Brunswick Community Library.
Oh,
And
I'm
I would-
sorry.
And
You got a line item on here.
well, no, that was Sarah, not me. And although the library has been open for curbside pickup and lending of electronic books and the virtual meetings, I'm very happy to announce that barring something happening, the library will be opening for appointment only in library browsing starting next Monday.
Excellent.
We will be following safety protocols similar to what the town is using. And I have to thank your secretary because she did forward to me the screening tool that she developed. So it should be safe for all, and I refer you to the phone number, Facebook, and the website to contact the library to set up your appointments.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you coming up. Anybody else at this point? Board, you guys all set? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So, you had 9 people watching.
Thank you.
A little bit of a lag, but not, there's no lag on the board. Because when I first turned it on, you heard Bill at the same time.
Where's your battery life?
Yeah, still lag. And from up there, yeah, it's still lag. It's still ready to shut it off.
So
Why won't it let me in now? Now it's saying the battery's low again. Oh, there we go. There we go. I turned it on.